And so my poor Jetta would have like this nasty cast net in the trunk. Like it just was not good. You really need a pickup truck because you really do need to separate yourself. You don't want a cast net in the cab of your car. You want that in the bed of a truck. So
welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your fearless host, Angie Scott.
Hey, welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer. I'm so happy you're here. This is busy crunch time season for me at Freedom Boat Club, and with bass fishing heating up at the same time, as well as trying to keep up with releasing a brand new podcast episode each and every week. In addition to that, the Monday Night Live, Monday Night Takeovers of the Women's World of Fishing on YouTube and Facebook shows, which are spearheaded by Barbara Harris each and every week. Very thankful to Barbara for everything she does behind the scenes to make those happen. Otherwise, I definitely would not be able to do that. I can't even imagine taking on one more thing at this point. Update on the Lance Truck Camper Mobile Podcast Studio. We found a local shop here, and they're trying to squeeze us in between jobs. Everywhere we call is backed up. It's insane. The RV industry and the boat industry still absolutely insane right now. So the Key West boat is back at the dealer to figure out the charging battery issue that we had on Lake Hickory, and I hope and pray to get it back this week with any luck. These are such crazy times that we're in right now. As I said last week, I'm incredibly blessed to have a boat at all, but I guess maybe the universe decided I need a major lesson in patience, which is probably true. In other news, the Freedom Boat Club Nashville job is rocking, and all the members I've been hearing from are extremely pleased with their decision to join. We really try to go over and above for our members and pride ourselves on giving them white glove service when they join the club. So I'm proud of our entire team at Freedom Boat Club Nashville and truly blessed to be a part of it, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store. Okay, so this week I am so stoked to introduce you to a majorly badass female captain by the name of Alissa Vinoski. Alissa runs charters out of the Tampa, Florida area, and she has a Yamaha VMAX show just like I do, and she does some truck camping, but a little bit different style than what we're about to do. And you'll hear all about it in this episode. You'll also be able to see some sweet setups of her rigs, both the boat and the Overland camping on the website for this episode, thewomanangler.com/184. All right, be prepared to be inspired by Alissa and enjoy. Alissa Vinoski, welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. I'm so glad to have you on today, and I've been looking at your social media, and I'm really excited to talk to you about some of the things that you dabble in, and especially the camping thing. That looks so cool.
well, thank you. I am excited to be here, and I always love talking about my passion. So conversation will flow freely when we talk about fishing and camping. Absolutely.
So let's just start at the beginning. Like I saw you're from Virginia, but now you're in Florida. Kind of talk about how you got into all this stuff.
Yeah. So I grew up in a military family. My dad was in the Air Force for about 28 years. So my whole life, born into it. And we have always lived in coastal places. So I was born in New York, moved from New York. I mean, we could go down the list of all the places I lived, but we went from New York to the complete other side of the coast. We ended up in San Diego and then Washington State and then back over across to Virginia. And then my grandparents lived in South Carolina this whole time. And as a child, I went back and forth to South Carolina for holidays, for summers. I spent a lot of time in Beaufort, and my grandfather and my dad, of course, as well, He was raised in Miami and spent a lot of his childhood in a john boat fishing in the feather beds of Miami. So, the salt has kind of always been around in my family's life. And my grandfather was a game warden in South Carolina, kind of a self-proclaimed game warden. He lived on a small island and took care of the deer population so it didn't get out of control and protected them as well. And he had a john boat. And I started out with him when I was really little, and we would go get bait, and I didn't really know. The bait was more fun than the actual fishing. I just thought they were cute and wanted to play with them. And, when you're 4 years old, it's just kind of fun to look at little squirmy bait fish. So, it kind of blossomed from there. And then I've just kind of always been in the wilderness. He had a golf cart that I would rip around in the woods as I got older. And it's just kind of part of who I am and how I grew up. And so it has stuck with me, and I'm glad that I never grew out of it. And now I'm down in Florida. I was in Georgia for a little while as well. So I've just kind of always been near the salt water.
Awesome. So you're in the Tampa area now. So what brought you to that area?
So this is a little bit of a sore subject, and my dad and my mom have heard it a million times, but in my senior year of high school, so I lived in Washington, D.C. from the 2nd grade through the 11th grade, which is pretty unheard of in a military family to live somewhere for that long. My dad was stationed at the Pentagon, and he just kept getting reassigned and reassigned and reassigned within the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. And in my senior year, he got reassigned to Florida. And I was like, you're kidding me. I made it this long. You guys are going to yank me out during my senior year and bring me to Tampa. Yeah. So, obviously I was dramatic, 17-year-old. I don't want to go. But I ended up moving down here, and it was probably the best possible thing that could have happened to me because it took me into a number of career paths that have just been absolutely awesome. Hindsight is 2020. Now I realize that it was a really good move for me, but at the time it was just the worst possible thing that could happen to me. So he actually still works at MacDill Air Force Base. I've been here for 15 years now, and he still works at MacDill, and he's what's called a civil servant. So he retired from his position and went back as a civilian. So
gotcha.
I'm still here, still in Florida.
Awesome. Well, it's not a bad place to be, especially for somebody into fishing and in the outdoors. I love that whole area down there. So
absolutely.
Tell me all about what you do as far as a career goes.
Yeah, so I've had kind of a wild resume. I have always been on the water and involved in the boating and fishing community in some way, shape, or form. So I actually started out as a career animal trainer, which is totally unrelated to fishing. But the whole time that I was doing that, I was also working at trade shows with companies that I respect and that I, appreciate their products and use their products. And I was also, working with a trolling motor company at the time. And, I just kind of, side things. But I was a career animal trainer. I worked with exotic animals. I also worked with dolphins and sea lions. I was a Navy contractor for a while. So still, in the water, I was a diver, and I operated boats on the Georgia coast, and, still kind of sticking true to what I love. But I left that field after a while, and all the while that I was doing that, I was also running guided fishing trips. So I currently have a 2021 beaver tail skiff. It's the second one that I've had. It's my 4th boat. So over the last, it's literally been probably 14 years. I've been started out with taking friends out, and then kind of culminated into, well, this is really, really fun. And sometimes I actually prefer to be on the back of the boat watching everybody else catch the fish. Maybe I should start guiding. So all the while I've had all these other careers, I've also been guiding as well. So
cool.
Yeah, now I do boat sales, so I didn't stray too far still.
Yeah.
And I also run trips at this point as well.
Awesome. So you have your captain's license
Hmm.
and do all that stuff. So that's so cool. So fly fishing, and then you do some conventional fishing as well.
Hmm.
Um and then I want to get into the whole camping thing because you've got this really cool looking rig that I want to hear about. So how'd you get into that?
Yeah, so it's a little embarrassing, but I used to, I just kind of always wanted to get off the grid, and I used to drive little small cars. I started out in like a little Scion TC two-door coupe thing, and then I moved into a Jetta, and I found myself doing things with that car that it just was not built to do. Number one, it would have, back when I first started out, to your point, I was doing the conventional fishing. I still do the conventional fishing with the fly fishing and the spin fishing, but I was running a lot more bait trips when I first started in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so my poor Jetta would have like this nasty cast net in the trunk. Like it just was not good. You really need a pickup truck because you really do need to separate yourself. You don't want a cast net in the cab of your car. You want that in the bed of a truck. So I also found myself taking my Jetta into places that it simply was not designed to go. So I came home and my Jetta was all muddy one day and my mom was like, "What did you do to this car?" And I was like, "Well, I was going to watch a meteor shower and I got caught in a field." And I was like, "All right, maybe we need to upgrade the vehicle to something that's got a little bit more clearance and maybe some 4x4 and some not straight tires." So I moved out of the Jetta and into a Tacoma, and it kind of spiraled from there. Once you start looking at all the aftermarket accessories that you can put on a car,
yeah.
it is wild. So I started to see these cool conversions, and I've always liked being in the woods. Again, going back to South Carolina and hanging out in the woods and that kind of being my happy place. It just kind of spiraled into this, let's get off the grid. How can I be sustainable on my own out here and have everything that I need to be comfortable and safe, of course, being a female, out traveling, sometimes completely solo. You want to make sure that you have everything you need and you're safe. So it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And I landed in my rig that I have now, my 4x4 4Runner with the fridge, the solar power, the tent. It's got literally a hot water shower
Oh my gosh.
that I can pop out. Yeah, I've got battery banks. I've got, it's got everything. I've got all the recovery gear that I need if I ever get stuck. I've got satellite communication. Like I've got it all.
That's awesome.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm definitely going to share a picture of that on the website so people can go check that out if they're curious to see your rig. And of course, I'll share your socials as well so they can look at all the other awesome pictures you've got on your Instagram of your skiff and your rig. That was going to be one of my questions I was going to ask so I just recently got the Lance truck camper and am using it as a mobile podcast studio as I travel around. We're actually picking it up this afternoon, and I'm doing a lithium conversion. So we're swapping out the batteries in the camper for some lithium.
Nice.
Which I'm excited about. So, and hopefully we'll get that done. Everybody, I'm not skilled enough to do it myself. I'm not,
Same.
I look at all these wires in there and I'm like, There's
one thing that I've never been brave enough to really mess with, and it's electrical. I've run some of the wires for my aftermarket lights because I've got oh my gosh, I have 8 different light switches in my 4Runner. And I've done some of them, and you can 100% tell the difference between the wiring they're professional did and the wiring that the things are zip tied to the roof rack. And
yeah.
All right, Alissa did this one.
Yeah, there's 2 things that I typically don't mess with, and one is electrical and 2 is plumbing. I'm also not a plumbing fan. So
nobody wants a bad plumber.
And those are two of the issues we've got with the camper currently is swapping out the batteries for the lithium, and then the hot water heater has a issue, which I'm hoping is really small. But anyway, we're taking it to somebody locally here who is more skilled at that type of stuff. So, but, everybody's backed up and behind, so I'm hoping he'll be able to squeeze us in between jobs and get it done over the next couple weeks, because our first trip is coming up mid-June. We're going down to the Cane River in Louisiana.
Oh, I thought you were about to say you're coming down to Florida.
I wish. That, that's going to be next if I get to make it down there for ICAST, but I'll probably fly for that one since it's going to be a little bit shorter trip. For ICAST. But that was going to be one of my questions when I was looking at your rig. I was like, well, that's really cool, but how do you shower?
From billion-dollar ad budgets and arena naming rights to tens of thousands of retail locations, big wireless providers spend big to appear like they're your only option. How do they afford it all? That big bill you get at the end of every month. Mint Mobile had a different idea. Instead of brick and mortar overhead, Mint Mobile is online only. What does that mean for you? A whole lot of savings, because wireless plans from Mint Mobile start at just $15 a month. That's unlimited talk, text, and data for just $15 a month. You'll save enough that you can get a brand new rod and reel for the upcoming season. For anyone who just hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan, and you can even keep your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. By going online only and eliminating traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes significant savings on to you. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That's mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
Yeah, so there's a company called Mr. Heater, and Mr. Heater makes a propane powered. You obviously need you obviously need power as well for it, but that's why we have the battery banks that get their power from the solar. But it's just a propane that you screw on to the generator, basically the little pump, and it pulls from a water source. So I have 2 5-gallon jugs on the back of my vehicle that I think were really meant to be for fuel, but I use them. I fill them with water, and I use them as my shower source. I haven't quite figured out if that's how I want to keep it, but it's worked so far. And then I have a container that I pour the water into because the pump doesn't fit through the top of what was supposed to be the gas can. And so then, I just fill it up with water. It's actually amazing how long a shower you can take on just a couple gallons of water. You really don't use as much water as you think you do. I thought I can actually shave my legs, wash my hair, and feel right.
Yeah.
So it's pretty nice. And I have a pop-up shower from CVT, Cascadia Vehicle Tents, who also makes the tent that's on the top of my rig.
Okay.
And it's like a collapsible, and it pops up into a changing room, a shower room. It's got a mesh floor, so the water just flows right out.
Nice. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. A shower is, you would never realize, but after 3 or 4 days in the woods, a shower can make you feel like you can go for another week.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and you're probably like me. You're so drawn to water. Even a shower is just so it just revitalizes you. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. If I had enough water and I could go forever, out in the woods and I could take a shower every few days, I think I could actually literally live out there. I think I could just stay in the woods.
Yeah. Very cool.
Without a shower, I don't know about that. I can't survive on baby white bass forever.
Yeah. So, and then talk about this. So I'm looking at your skiff. I've never seen a Yamaha VMAX show like that before. That's badass.
That was a project. So Yamaha, okay, first of all, I love those folks over there.
Yeah,
so
they're awesome.
I've worked with Yamaha for quite a while now. And I actually have, one of the cool things about being a licensed captain and being a female is that, and I love this about Yamaha, they, and a lot of motor companies are doing this, and even a lot of clothing companies, product companies, they're starting to involve women more and more in their marketing and their campaigning and their commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cool things is that, I have some friends that work at Yamaha, and I've been friends with them for a long time. And it just so happened through the networking, and, part of that comes from ICAST and attending these trade shows. But Yamaha reached out to me to captain their boats for their show commercials, the super high output engine commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went down there, and I actually got to work with a really good friend of mine. She was my fellow angler on this shoot, and they wanted a licensed captain because they want somebody who is capable of running the boat and being, having the insurance and having the paperwork to document that and prove that they're capable of it. You don't have to have a captain's license to be capable of running a boat, but when you're doing commercials and there's legal stuff going on, it's, they want to make sure they have their ducks in a row, which is great. And so I ran this boat for the commercial for them, and it was awesome. Everybody had a really good time. And, I stayed in touch with them, and they actually ended up adding me to their national fishing team.
Nice.
And and it's been incredible. And so, when I built my new skiff, there was no doubt in my mind that it was going to have Yamaha on it. And I went back and forth. Do I want the 70? Do I want the 90? Do I want the speed? Do I want to lose the draft? Do I want to, where do I want to compromise here? And so I had a 60 Merc on my last boat, and it was great, but I wanted a little bit more out of it. And so I said, you know what? Let's just, as everybody says, let's just send it, and let's do the 90. So it's partly being a female. I am very, about the appearance of it. And so everything on my boat is black. All the accessories are black. Trolling motor's black. Powder coating's black. And if it was up to me, I would probably paint the wheels on my trailer black. I probably still will. I did it on my last trailer, but I wanted the engine to be black. And so I worked with a company here in Tampa, Marino Customs, and he does engine painting. And so we went down this road, and we actually pulled apart a brand new 90 show, which was a little wild, and sanded it down and primed it and painted it. And it turned out sweet. And that boat hauls butt. Let me tell you what.
Nice. Yeah,
it's so fast.
I think we have similar taste in styling, because I love that. I would totally do the same thing. Even your rig, like your vehicle and the camping equipment, it's very similar to kind of the look I went for with the Lance Truck Camper mobile podcast studio. So, very, very cool. Love the story about that. And, my dealer here that I worked with, they're a Yamaha dealer. And so that's all I've ever had is Yamahas, and they're so quiet, and, just never had any issues with them.
Yeah.
And so with my new job at Freedom Boat Club, we kind of changed directions a little bit this year. I've been running Tri-Tunes for the last 6 years, and Quest pontoons. They really make a good fishing platform for, they put live wells and rod holders and all the things you need for fishing from a Tri-Tune. And then, so this year we went a little bit different direction through Freedom Boat Club with a Key West center console Bay Reef,
Nice.
230 Bay Reef, and I was so worried that I was gonna have to like have a different brand of motor on there, and I was so happy when I found out that Key West a lot of times puts Yamahas on their boats. So
It's so funny that you say that. In the boat sales that I do, I find myself, I'll sell any boat that we have on the lot and be proud of it and be happy to represent it and talk about it. But I do always find myself slightly biased in going towards the boats that have the Yamahas on the back.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Really
And there's, like you said, there are great people that work there, and I've kind of gotten to know Melissa over the last couple years, and she was cool enough to invite me to do a little thing at the Bassmaster Classic, the last one before the pandemic hit, and so that was a lot of fun. And
that's one thing I've never attended, and I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to go to the Bassmaster Classic and just experience with so much energy there. I bet
it's insane. Like the first year I went, I had no idea what to expect, and when I went to the first weigh-in, I was like, is this for real? Like, I mean,
it's like fireworks.
Yeah, it's like a rock concert. I'm like, I had no idea. So, that's really cool. And then of course the convention that's associated with it is a little different than ICAST because it's open to the public. And so you get a lot of diehard bass fishing fans come into that, and it's just kind of cool to see. So, so yeah, I definitely recommend trying to make it. I can't go this year because my Cane River tournament kind of conflicts, and I could kind of make it work, but it'd be hard to travel from Texas to where my tournament is in that short amount of time, so I'm going to have to skip it this year, unfortunately, but hopefully I can make
Bummer.
it.
Well, maybe I'll go and I'll
there you go.
let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it is.
Yeah.
I'll find a way out there somehow.
Yeah. So what do you have going on currently? Just are you guiding? Like what?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I run trips kind of, I have a website and I have the social media. I do a lot of trips word of mouth. And that's, to be honest with you, I think that's the best form of advertising, especially in the fishing community. And so, word of mouth has actually sustained me with the almost perfect amount of trips that I want to run anyway. And down here, we're getting to that time of year where tarpon season is ramping up, and truth be told, I love tarpon fishing and I love being out there, looking for those fish because they're truly incredible. But I really actually like to be on the flat looking for redfish while everybody else is going crazy looking for tarpon. So I actually run a lot of redfish trips this time of year. So, and I don't know, I mean, it's not like a secret or anything, but I do prefer to stay kind of out of the mad rush to chase the Silver King. I mean, I'll get out there and do it every once in a while, but I have a passion for redfish for sure. So That's kind of what I'm busy with this time of year. And then of course, looking forward to possibly attending ICAST. And then I want to make a trip up to Georgia, North Carolina at some point. I love going up there in the summer and just trying to get back into the normal swing of things. It's been a weird year.
Yeah.
So, but it feels like things are getting a little bit more back to normal. So
I just got back from North Carolina, and it was my first time ever being there, and it's really cool. What part of North Carolina do you like to go to?
So I spend most of my time in, I really love Franklin. It's this cute little town. I got introduced to it when I went and filmed the Destination America show, Fin Chasers. I went up there to do some world record stuff and chase world records. And we actually we did 2 episodes. We did a spotted bass and a trout episode. And we ended up submitting 6 world records that we caught during the course of 2 episodes, which was wild. But it landed us in Cherokee. And I love Cherokee. I love Nantahala. I love Franklin. That's really where I spend most of my time. And I'm kind of a broken record. I go back to the same spots that I love. And I do need to branch out a little bit, but yeah, I go all over North Carolina and kind of poke my way around there. And then I don't know too much about Tennessee. I went to Windrock about, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. You can really break your vehicle there. Let me tell you what, I should probably not go back there because it's dangerous. But, and then I spend a lot of time in northern Georgia as well. Lake Chattooga is where I went and did my spotted bass episode with fin chasers, and that place is really cool. So yeah, all around that area.
Very cool. And your website is tampaflygirl.com, and it's a really well done website, by the way.
Thank you.
So I will share that in the show notes for this episode, and I hope to get to meet you at ICAST this year, so we'll have to stay in touch if I end up being able to make that trip. And
absolutely.
And then maybe when I get back down there, hopefully this winter, maybe we can do some fishing.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to take you out. Wintertime is a great time down here. The water clears up and the sight fishing is absolutely unreal.
Awesome. And I have yet to catch a tarpon, by the way, so it's kind of
we can make that happen.
One of my bucket list fish. So
yeah, we can totally make that happen.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to be on the podcast.
Thanks for having me on, and talk to you soon.
Okay. All right, thanks as always for listening. Please be sure you're subscribed and leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast app. And most importantly, please share these episodes with your friends who might be interested and find some inspiration from some of these amazing ladies that I get the opportunity to chat with and introduce you to. As long as people keep listening, I will continue working hard every week to bring you the best content to empower, inspire, and connect other women in the fishing, hunting, and other outdoor adventures. That's my commitment to you. Be sure and join the Woman Angler and Adventurer Facebook group if you haven't already, and introduce yourself. We all look forward to meeting and getting to know you, and can't wait to see you next week.